So T, I mean, you messaged me, reached out to me, what now? Maybe like it was on Sunday, so
Yeah, yeah, it was a
3-ish
couple
days
days ago. Yeah,
ago. I mean, basically, to me, you said, "Hey, we just photographed one of our dream clients that you booked through Google inquiry, correct?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they found us through Google, and the sweetest couple, and it was one of those where we booked them maybe a year ago, and so they were still kind of going through the COVID process, and potential rescheduling and the way California is out here. I mean, it was just there was a lot of shuffling around per se, and so
Yes.
we booked with them, and we managed with
Mhm.
that. And then they, of course, had some add-ons they added on.
Okay.
And Jeff, it was honestly the dream couple like no other. And so and it was one of those things too where it don't get me wrong. I mean, we raised our rates, over the time,
Mhm.
and of course going through the Dream Clients program, raising everything up um but for us, it wasn't about the money. For
Yeah.
us, it was about the couple and the dynamic and how they interacted with us. And then the sweet and the part of the deal almost, it was the venue. And so the way the venue was and the um where we were at with the marketing with the venue, and they were so just it was a dream come true. And so it was one of those weddings where when we left, we were sad. I mean, we were like,
Mhm.
we want this to be every weekend for this type of wedding. And to be really frank and honest, I mean, we really believe. I mean, we couldn't have matched up with this client, and things wouldn't have been put together. And I'm not saying like to put people on pedestals or whatever, but because of the program, and the confidence that we have, and how we perceive ourselves, during the inquiry process, all the way through the onboarding, and all the way through, the client experience, really has made just a huge difference in our business.
And that's awesome to hear. Super
Yeah,
encouraging. And I mean, I've seen you guys. Well, I don't know. We've. I think the first time we talked was how long ago? Was it 2 years ago? The
I think it
first
was
time
two
that we
years
spoke.
ago. Yeah,
So, which I don't think you joined the program then. The first time that we spoke, right? I think it
right.
was we kind of talked, and you guys were, going through some different things, and like you were still working on your business at that time, and I
Yeah,
remember like seeing where you were, and then like kind of seeing you guys progress, and then you came back around, and we chatted again, and then like seeing your business grow, and your level of confidence grow
yeah.
over time has been really encouraging to me.
Oh,
And again, I'm not trying to like take credit for that, because
yeah,
I don't, to me, I really enjoy seeing you where you were and where you're at now, seeing your brand, how you've elevated your brand. And I don't know how much have you increased your prices. I mean, I don't know if I know for sure the total transformation that you've gone through. So talk to me about that a little bit.
yeah. That's a good question. So when we first, let me back this up. So when we first talked, I think it was maybe 3 months in the pandemic, or it was kind of like the world had no idea what was going on. And
Right.
so for Becca and I, we knew we had to get some help with our business. I mean, don't get me wrong, we were working our business and it was good, but it wasn't where we wanted it to be at. And to be honest with you, it wasn't sustainable, where we wanted to be at. And so, of course, of being in California with the high prices, it's just crazy out here. And so for us, at first, I mean, we were scared to invest in our business, and you're probably thinking like, well, T, why are you scared? Like, this is your business. Don't you want to make it succeed and everything? And I think in the back of my head, like it was always that fear of failure, that fear of doubt, per se. And so it's like I didn't want to invest money into something having this fear of, okay, well, it's going to fail or it's going to flop. And it wasn't until really for myself to get over that fear of that, and to really go, hey, this isn't about like I mean, it's not about the money investment. It's just, it's more of a inner, deeper issue of, hey, I need
Mm,
to let control, let loose of this and go, hey, I can dream big. I can dream whatever I want to dream, and if I put the effort in and work on this, I can make this happen. And so that's why the second time around, that's what we did was we said, hey, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to invest in our business, and we're going to, redo our website. We're going to work on the copyright for it. We're going to work on, SEO, and we're not going to pay someone, to just, do the SEO for us. We want to learn how to do this. We want to
mm,
learn the ins and outs. We want to learn because if we just pay someone, and don't get me wrong, I mean, other people who, do the SEO stuff, that's their business and their job. There's nothing wrong with that, but for us, we wanted someone to really help us and teach us through this. And that's where we came back with you going, hey, Jeff, he knows what he's talking about. He knows, the ins and outs in this. And this isn't some gimmick or whatever. Like, this is real. And so for us, it was letting go of that fear, putting the trust in
yes.
the process per se. And then through that, of course, we're raising our prices. And so we raised our prices 4 times during the pandemic. And you're probably thinking like,
Yes.
probably like 4 times, like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, like, we've raised this 4 times to really a sustainable wage, and it's meant the world. Like, there's bookings that we've had in the past, yeah, or inquiries we've had in the past where we thought, hey, we're not going to get this booking at all. There's no way. And now it's like we have the confidence that's instilled in us going, hey, this inquiry comes in. Okay, this is our price. This is why we know that we're worth it. And here, and we list everything off. We go through, that inquiry process, with the client. And there's those moments, Jeff, where like, I think like in my head, I'm going, they're never going to book with us. I mean, even like today, we had 2 client inquiries come in. And so we had the meetings with them. And in my head, I'm going, they're not going to book with us. One guy, this was for a proposal. One guy, he's coming from San Diego, coming up here. He changed his travel date to meet our calendar,
Oh,
which,
wow.
which I'm like, dude, like, are you sure? Like, he's changing his travel dates just, to have us as photographers. There's another client that we just got done with a wedding inquiry, and she is moving stuff around because she wants us as the photographers, and she's going to, move heaven on earth for that to happen. And Rebecca and I, maybe off the call, Rebecca and I are like, this is like, 20 minutes ago. And we're like, are you kidding me? Like, looking back, like on a year and a half ago, like, we have never would have expected like this to happen. And so that's why, like, for us, like, we're just so grateful just to invest and to spend that time, going through this. And I mean, our bookings have, 3x, in the last year, raised our prices 4 times. This year we have 27 weddings lined up for this year. The average cost of a wedding for us is $9,000 for an 8-hour day.
Let's go.
It's I mean, and then we have weddings, 10 hours, 12 hours. And of course, I mean, we had one wedding that we're going back and forth with just with logistics, but it's the 12-hour a day for 15K, and it looks like they're going to book with us. So it is it's nuts. It's nuts. And that's why, like, I am, again, it's not about the money. It's about, I mean, of course, money's great, but it's not about the money. It's about matching the right people with the ideal clients. So the client comes to you and says, hey, you are the expert. I trust you with everything. I trust you that you're going to, provide for the wedding day. And don't be wrong, there's pressure on us. But at the end of the day, it lets us do our job. It lets us, it just, everything moves, much more fluidly versus
Yes.
how this was 2 years ago, where we had to fight tooth and nail.
So you've experienced a transformation in your bottom line, in your
Yeah.
revenue, in how much you and how many weddings you're shooting. But what I keep hearing from you, what it sounds like, is like, that's great and awesome, but the satisfaction that comes from booking dream clients where you're aligned is one of the most exciting things and most fulfilling things to you? Is that is and I mean, add to that if you want to, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing.
No, that's exactly. I mean, and that's why, like, don't get me wrong, like raising your prices, that's exciting. That's exciting to
Mhm.
make more money. I mean, that's human nature, right? But when you strip it down and you realize, okay, is this about the money, and this is now like a transactional business, about the money,
Right.
or is this a relational business where you have these clients where you almost build friendships with them?
Yes.
And that was the more fulfilling part, was the friendship part. And so, I mean, after that wedding, this past weekend, they were joking. They were like, "Hey, can we still be friends? Can we still, like, can we hang out if you're ever in town? And um, like, those are the clients, that we want, and it's happening.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me personally, T, I always know that I'm doing a good job at booking dream clients when I have to refuse them offering me signature drinks.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
especially if
exactly.
it's hot outside.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson one time when I don't drink a lot, but I
Yeah.
drank a little, but it was super hot and got probably close to heat exhaustion, you know. But
Yeah.
that's that kind of stuff, like that sort of wedding day is so much more fulfilling than a wedding day where you don't feel connected to the couple. And so that's what I'm hearing from you. And what was encouraging to me was not only were you shooting, you know, this 12K package with this dream client couple, but you're also like networking,
Yeah.
like we teach you, you know, it's that's one of the things I'm like, hey, use the opportunities you're getting from the getting these inquiries on Google. Use those opportunities to then further develop your business, because now you're getting in front of these even other dream wedding vendors. They're also aligned
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your vision.
Yeah, and I just to talk about that a little bit. I mean, so like for this wedding up there, one of the things that we love to do is not just get photos of the couple, and of course the wedding day to tell the story, but also get photos of the vendors and the
Mhm.
vendors working in action. And so for us, for this venue, the venue had like four coordinators that are on site. And it's just the way they operate. I've never seen a venue like this before, but they had four coordinators going around, and then there's one wedding planner who works really closely with the venue coordinators. And and so for us, getting images with them working, we got images of them all together, smiling and posing and doing whatever. And then of course, in our workflow process, we'll pull those out. Like we'll get the client sneak peeks first, that we can send those, the night of.
Mhm.
But we'll get images of the vendors and get those out, almost same day, if not the day after. And that way they can have those images, for their marketing right then and there. But but Jeff, I mean, it's not just about the images, it's also creating those, and you've talked about this before, having those, or cultivating those relationships with the vendors, and the venues per se. And so, like, one of the things we've done, there's a venue, actually, there's a company that owns three venues here locally. They're called Events by Classic. And we get a lot of our weddings, through those three venues. It's really been a gold mine. But for us, massaging those relationships, and don't be wrong, like we generally are friends with some of the coordinators there, and so we built these relationships up. But like Monday, went out to one of the local coffee shops here in Monterey. We picked up $200 in coffee gift cards. It was like 300, or no, 30 gift cards, an X amount of piece. We went to their office there and we said, hey, we know it's Monday, and we know wedding season's upon us, and just kind of a little pick me up. Here's 30 gift cards for you guys. You guys can share them with the employees or do whatever, but coffee's on us. They
Awesome.
were so appreciative.
Yes.
And you're probably thinking like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money to spend, but for us, the thinking the long game, of
Well,
it. I mean, we're
yeah.
we're now on their preferred vendor list, and people are coming
And
to us.
I mean,
Go ahead.
you're getting paid enough
Yeah,
from the couples that you can afford to even do that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So you know, it's like, yeah, it's expensive, but again, like you just said, just highlighting how insightful that is to you is like you're realizing that, okay, this is the long game, and okay, book them. You got, you know, they find these dream couples find you on Google. They're nurtured through your site. You've got a booking process to close them and then continue that onboarding, give them this awesome experience, develop the relationships, which the other vendors are going to pick up on.
Right.
Right. Like when they're like, because they're probably going to figure out, maybe not, but they may figure out how much the couple actually spent on you.
Right.
And when they hear these high prices, that sets a picture in the mind of the vendors, the planner, the venue, etc. Then you show up on Monday and you're spreading the love around because you've gotten paid enough that you can do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just a quick story, and I'm saying this to reaffirm what you said. So Events by Classic, they have the 3 wedding venues, right? One of them is called the Monterey Beach House, and it's kind of the lower end, of the 3 venues. And they recently just, remodeled the inside, and it looks amazing on the inside. Well, the head of sales there, I was talking with her, and I thought this was really interesting, and it affirms what you're saying. She said, yeah, we remodeled this place, so that we have couples, because they're looking at you, and we want to make sure these couples book you guys because of the aesthetics of the place. And what she was saying was, in her view, we are a higher tier, and they want to, drive couples towards us because they like us. And so to match the venue with us, it's a win-win. And never in a million years, Jeff, would I was like really, like you're transform. And of course she was probably nice about it, but I'm like, you're transforming the venue because you have us vendors in mind, as a tier status, like I wouldn't have thought that way, 2 years ago. But things are happening, and it's moving and grooving.
That's awesome. And just a tongue-in-cheek sort of question.
Yeah.
Do you think if you would have, just hired someone to do your SEO,
yeah,
that you would have tapped into like all this stuff that we're talking about here?
I mean, I'm not a custom man, but I'm like, heck no. I'm like, Jeff, if I would have done that, like looking back on it, like I highly doubt we would be where we're at right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I would have hired someone to do all the SEO and to put the work in, and I didn't know anything about it, I don't think so. We wouldn't be here.
Do you think, and which I agree with you in the sense that I've seen it time and time again, right? But do you think, let's say you could have hired an SEO agency to get you to the first page of Google, and they actually got you there, but that's it. Or even, let's say you just figured out how to get to the first page of Google, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
How different do you think of a place you'd be in now versus having taken what you learned inside of Dream Clients and applied it to get to where you're at now? What do you think would be the difference?
That's a really good question. To answer your question, this is way more than just being on the first page of Google. This is almost a business transformation, and really it's a mindset transformation almost, if you will. And so going through Dream Clients, I mean, yes, getting on the first page of Google, and working on your SEO, that's a piece of the puzzle. That's one piece of it. But there's a whole lot more within that. And I think if it was just the one piece of the puzzle, yeah, you can be on the first page of Google, but then what happens when the inquiry comes in? What do you do? What happens through the onboarding process? How do you, perceive yourself, when you're speaking to the client or the potential client? What happens, Jeff? I mean, once you onboard the client, and going through the journey, right before wedding day, in that time frame, what do you do with the client? Do you just not talk with them, or do you, help them and walk them through this? And that's where I think the difference is, right? I think, yes, you can hire a guy, an agency, if you will, to be on the first page. And I have friends, who are photographers who that's the route that they've chosen, and things are good for them. But for me, in my experience, if we were to have done that, I highly doubt, we would have gotten this dream client this past weekend and photographed their wedding. And I highly doubt we'd have clients or potential clients, changing their travel plans, to book us as photographers. I just don't see that happening.
That's deep. So you went from, I know you said you raised your prices 4 times, but I didn't want to assume, did you raise it 4 times as you did a price increase 4 times, or did you like 4x your pricing from what you used to charge?
I raised it 4 times throughout
Okay.
past year and a half. And so and we didn't do well. I wish Rebecca was here, because Rebecca tells a different story. Rebecca's the more cautious one in the relationship, and so she's
Yeah.
like, "Are you kidding me? You want to do that? This?" And I'm like, "Just trust me. Just trust the process."
Yes.
But so we had raised it 4 times, and of course within those times too, I mean, it's not just building relationships with other vendors, it's also building relationships with photographers. And don't get me wrong, like with these other photographers in our area, like they're our friends, we talk back and forth, but within that talk comes pricing, right? And so we, of course, are open, just like how they're open, and figuring out, okay, what are they charging? What are people charging in the area? Not being sneaky about it, but just having honest conversations. And that's where, like, back, year and a half ago, we realized, hey, we are way under. I mean, the price isn't sustainable. The clients were coming in aren't our ideal clients, aren't our dream clients. And business was hard, versus you fast forward till now, by raising your prices 4 times and, being competitive in the market, things are moving, like a well-oiled machine. Now, don't get me wrong, like, there's still photographers out there in our area, they'll charge, let's say, $300 for a session, and they're booking, and that's good for them and what they want to do. But for us, by taking that 300, and timesing it by 4, for a session in the area, it provides a higher end client who they trust you, they know what you're talking about, and it sounds weird, right? It sounds like, hey, naturally you want to go for the cheapest thing, right? But they're comparing, hey, there must be something wrong. Really, there's nothing wrong, but there must be something wrong with the $300 photographer versus, the $1,200 photographer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's psychology almost, and
it is.
Again, like, it sounds weird, right? But it just, in my experience, it's so true.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. And so when you way back when,
Yeah.
maybe not the first time. Well, what were your prices when we first spoke? You remember?
Yeah, I give or take. Yeah, our sessions were, I think they were $200
for like an engagement session or
yeah,
portraits.
for like a well, we kind of did across the board. We did $200 for, first it was a 90-minute session. That's a long time. And then we brought it down to a 60-minute session. So we started $200 there. And then, we rose it to 300. And then we went to, I think it was 550, I think. And then it was 750. And now it's 1,000.
Okay. And then again, when you say session, is that just engagement sessions, or are you also doing some family stuff? And
yeah, so we kind of narrowed everything down. I mean, so this is what we primarily do: is the proposal, the engagement, and then weddings.
Okay.
We will take on families, but we've also found with families, we have to charge a little less for the family, versus like a proposal or an engagement. It's
Sure.
just the way the market is right here. And
Okay.
so, for the proposal, it will be, 1,000, versus the family will be, between like 750 or 800. And of course, depending
Okay.
on the area and the travel.
And then what about for weddings?
Our 8-hour, that's a good question. Give me 1 second. I should know this off the top of my head. And
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that A lot of people, it's funny. Even myself, at times, I've been like, "Oh shoot, well, I just raised the prices." And I actually don't remember exactly. And
Yeah.
so, and yeah, not your fault. It's pretty
Um,
common, believe it or not.
our 8 hour is 8,998.
Okay, what was it? But what was it way back when?
1,500.
Okay, was it 1500 when we spoke for like
Uh,
when you were looking at joining Dream Clients?
yeah, the first time that we spoke, it was 1,500.
Okay, did you raise it a little bit between the first time we spoke and when you actually joined Dream Clients?
Um, no, no, it was 1,500 flat for an 8 hour, and then that first time, not the first time was 1,500, and then when I finally joined, that's when we rose it when we joined. And I think we rose it up to, I want to say it was 2,500.
Started
Um,
going up pretty quick.
yeah, and so we realized, hey, we got to, somewhat double this, to be competitive, and but that was like the lower end of the market. And then all throughout, during that time frame, like a year and a half ago, we kept raising it up. I can't tell you what months we raised it or whatnot, but
Right.
we
Well,
eventually.
I mean, that's not to cut you off, but it from your all time, if you would say, okay, 1500, we could take 1200 divided by 1500 and find that's you 8 times
eight
your
times.
price to get to the 12K booking, which is that's been your highest, or did you say you have already booked a 15K or you're about to book a 15K?
We're about to book it.
You're about to book the 15K.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'm looking forward to you hitting your 20K booking, by the way. That I want you to message me once you hit your 20K. I want to help you get
Okay.
there. Okay. So I want to help you get there and say I think you can do it now probably. But all that aside, 8 times increase. Um, do you feel like Dream Clients, being inside of Dream Clients, has helped you to be able to increase your pricing? The gosh, I mean, your current high of 12K, it's an 8 times increase.
Yeah.
So do you feel that Dream Clients has played a part in that?
Yeah, I do. I think hands down. And I think, so looking back, like things were going really well last year, and then it wasn't until you had asked Roy to join, and hearing what Roy has done, for the 5 tier, wedding collections, because we've always done like a 3 tier, and going through like the year and a half 2 year process, before, I mean, Jeff, we went to like just one wedding package, we did 3 wedding packages. The highest we've done was like 7 wedding packages, because we're like, people want options, so let's try this to see what happens. um but it things started to change per se, or things started to I don't want to say make sense for us, but end of last year we had someone book. We had the 3 tier system, or 3 tier packages. We had 3 people book our highest package for that, and that was like a 10-hour day that we offered. And I think that was at like $8,500, I think.
Mm-hmm.
um and so in our heads we're going, okay, we've had three people book this, why not do, raise the prices even more and kind of have things expanded. And things really affirmed when that's when Roy, when he was saying, hey, doing the 5 tier package system, having that top tier biggest thing ever, all the way down, to your lowest tier, and pointing them towards the middle. I never thought about that. And of course, Rebecca looks at me like, well, I told you so, I told you, and um, but so now, yeah, so now we do the 5 tier system through that. And
Okay.
so far we haven't had someone book the highest one yet, but the second the highest we've had it, or about to have it.
Okay. And that's the 15K one.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you would say the the education that's inside of Dream Clients around the inquiry to booking mastery stuff. You feel
Yeah.
like that's been really instrumental in getting up to that 15K price. I mean, what you're about to book, you've got the 12K one that you did, and you've already booked that one and shot it and everything. Now you're moving on up and gunning for 15K plus. Would you
Yes.
say that, like, would you say, yeah, we learned how to do that because of being in Dream Clients?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I mean, being in Dream Clients in the program, it's really opened our eyes with the material that's in there, and the steps and the process that's in within Dream Clients. Has really opened the doors and allowed us to I mean, not just raise the prices, but really Jeff, I mean, be confident, in what we're selling,
Right.
you
Because
know,
there's a difference there, right?
there,
There's a difference
there's,
between
yeah,
trying to sell it and being confident as you're selling, the feeling of confidence
yeah,
versus just faking it, you know?
exactly. It's almost like that's a secret sauce to everything. It's just that, and it's not being prideful, right? Or, that cockiness, but it's like, hey, this is the cost of living. This is the cost of doing business. This is what I know I'm worth, and be confident in that, and not be afraid to, be like, hey, maybe we're not a good fit, but someone else is a good fit for you.
Right.
And it's like having that confidence of those words, that you
Mm.
speak. Um, I don't know. We wouldn't have gotten that unless we weren't in Dream Clients.
Okay. So did you feel like, well, let me ask it this way. What about being inside of Dream Clients do you think actually gave you the confidence to start charging these 10K plus prices? Like what was really the transformative aspect of that?
I I would say, and hopefully this makes sense, but I would say a lot of that um, was in the mastermind sessions. I
Mm.
think because I may not be like in the live ones, but watching the replays within that, and just hearing back and forth, about the process the different photographers are doing, the different amounts they're charging, and how they're getting there. And then of course, seeing, and I can't remember which one it was, but going back and, seeing the confidence, within other photographers, that they're going, hey, I can do this. And I think one that stands out to me, I can't remember exactly her name. I think it was it Michelle Lacey, I think. It was a photographer out of Las Vegas.
Hmm.
Um, Seeing her, I think she joined kind of right when I joined at first, but seeing the confidence coming out of her, I think she's married, so I think it's her and her husband, but
Yeah.
coming out of like where she started at, and seeing everything being, built up, and seeing, okay, wow, like we can do this, we can do this.
The transformation.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think for me, like seeing that, really inspired, hey, if she can do this, I can do this as well.
Mm.
But Jeff, it wasn't just that. I mean, of course, having the different, I don't want to say different ways or different venues, but like being, like you call it, like the apex vendor, so it's like having that, hey, I'm I'm the expert, if you will. I'm trying to pick and choose my words. I don't want to sound like, this egotistical man,
Ego
but
driven.
yeah, but it's like,
and I know you're not,
yeah,
but
but
yeah,
it's like knowing, hey, like I know what I'm doing, I know how to do this, and this is the way that I can do things. Having those relationships with the vendors, having the relationships with the venues, massaging that over and over again, and building relationships, and then treating our business not transactional but relational based with our clients, and learning that within the program. Really, I think is the biggest thing with the material, has helped
yeah,
us, get where we're at today.
right. Well, and I love hearing you say that because one of the things that I'm real passionate about, T, is I don't want people to just do SEO, quote unquote, because
Yeah,
old SEO method, the old way of doing SEO is very much like there's a box, and SEO's in that box. And it's totally different than your relationships and your branding and all the other stuff that you do in your business. Whereas, like, what you're doing is going to keep you ranking on Google, as well as probably add tens of thousands, if not over the years, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of revenue.
yeah,
And it's going to keep you ranking. So that's something that, I'm glad we're chatting about that a little bit, and that you're sort of giving testimony to that effect, because, again, you could hire someone to, which agencies are notorious for not getting great results. Sometimes there's exceptions. Sometimes it can be real expensive. Okay. But not even knocking that. It's like, you've got such a good, like, long-term plan that worked pretty quick. I mean, you got results pretty quick,
yeah,
but I mean, the long-term plan that you are on the path to, like, just kill it.
yeah.
And I think that's what I'm hearing you say it, and seeing your excitement. You're like, man, I'm developing these relationships, and like there's this and that and the mindset, and it's so much bigger than, oh, let me throw some keywords on my site and get some backlinks.
Right. It's
So
it's so much more than just ranking for Google. And I again, just speaking from experience, like it's bigger. It's bigger than this, Jeff. It's like I think of like some, like if I'm like speaking to someone who like is just coming in, you know, like they're like unsure and uneasy about this, you know, just to communicate with them going, no, like, yes, ranking on Google, I mean, that's a, it's a good step. It's a good chunk of this, but it's so much more than just ranking on Google. I mean, there's the potential, you know, to meet those clients. Like I never would have thought, you know, we would have had, you know, 12K weddings or 10K weddings. I never would have thought about that. Like I like in my education, like and like seeing like other photographers going through this, like I think of like Caitlin James, you know, or
mhm.
Amy and Jordan Demos, you know, what they charge, you know, and
Yeah, they're the
I
ones that charge that much.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I'm like, but
that's rock stars.
I'm like, I'm not them. I'm not them. Like there's, I'm just this guy in Monterey County, you know, who's trying to buy a house in the world's richest place ever. Um, like who am I? But then it's like, no, those clients are here. They're
Yeah.
searching. They're trying to figure this out. It's a matter of learning how to find them, learning how to connect with them, but then also building those relationships with them.
Mm-hmm. Man, really well put. Really well put. So to that person that, because there's a lot of people I encounter that are um, like they can't even imagine charging $4,000 or $5,000, much less 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus.
Yeah.
So like to that person again, and let's say they haven't joined Dream Clients, you know, so they're in that place where they're not charging enough, right? And maybe they don't think that they can charge that much, you know, that the clients aren't out there. Like now that you've experienced that transformation, like what would you say to that person?
Well, I would just say you can do it. And like I think of like the photographer who, you know, is in the Midwest who has, you know, their town is like population of, I don't know, 40,000 people or whatever. Well, maybe the town that you live in isn't where like the majority of your weddings, you know, are going to be at. Maybe you need to market to those bigger cities that are around you. I mean, even though I'm in Monterey, you know, and of course, you know, Pebble Beach and everything, and but the cost of living here is so incredibly high. Like I'm paying $6 for a gallon of gasoline. It is high. And so, but for me, like setting this up to where I'm now ranking, you know, for a town called Paso Robles, which is 2 hours south. I think I'm the highest one on there. There's like the not wedding wire than me that's on there. I we don't go to Paso Robles, you know, but I'm the highest one on there. I'm ranking for Santa Barbara, you know, Lake Tahoe, and it's like figuring like when you start ranking for different cities and you start marketing different cities. I mean, yeah, you may not want to do like a family session, you know, 3 hours away, and
Right.
I wouldn't want to either. But when you market like weddings to other places where it's a higher cost of living,
Yep.
you can make this work.
Yes.
You can.
Yep. 100%. And sometimes it's not a matter of paying your dues. It's the right mindset, because I mean, the biggest difference probably between you where you were and you where you're at now. Sure, we helped you rank on Google. You got first page for, you know, multiple cities.
Yeah.
Sure, your website was improved and there was user experience stuff that's probably, you know, really helped out, right? But at the end of the day, being like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to charge more.
Yeah.
And then realizing that you can serve your clients better and connect better if you are charging more.
Right. It's a completely different mindset change. It's going, hey, instead of again living in fear, you know, like let's strip everything away. It's fear. That's exactly what it is. It's I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of spending money and just wasting it. I'm afraid of, you know, X, Y, and Z. When you strip that away and you realize, hey, if so and so is doing this, or hey, um, if someone can rank, 3 hours away, and have a wedding there, I can do the exact same thing too. Once you have the confidence within you and you realize, hey, you can do this, it, the world's the end. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. And that's where like for me, like being, because I mean, I don't know, Jeff, I think I told you this. I mean, I used to be a youth pastor. And so it's like coming out of that, I literally left my job January 2020, and then the pandemic hit in March. And you talk about someone who was scared,
Yes.
afraid, going,
Yeah.
hey, I just lost a guaranteed paycheck by my
Right.
choice, but did I do the right thing or make the right move?
Yeah.
And to see that fear, I mean, looking back on this, to see that how I was in fear, but then realizing, hey, there's a lot more here than this, and to strip that away and have the confidence. Um, if I can do this, anyone can do this. Anyone can, honestly.
Well, and I love hearing that because I say this pretty regularly. My first mentor told me to keep my day job. 2 months later, we had a $7,500 client,
Yeah,
and so it's like my realization then for myself was I started to get confidence. But then when others started asking me, like, well, how'd you do this? It's like, oh my gosh, I could see this person doing that and this person doing that because I know how terrible I was. My
yeah,
mentor, I don't think they were mean. I think they were just honest.
yeah.
The work that I had and editing that I had and the website that I had was pretty bad.
Right,
you know,
right,
like like I was in a worse place than when you came to me,
right.
and so like seeing that gave me the faith for other people, including yourself, to be like, oh my gosh, man, you got this. Right. Um, leads me to the question, how much do you think you've made that you would not have made in terms of, again, the big thing is dream clients, but in terms of the revenue, how much do you think you've made because of being a part of dream clients versus if you had not joined dream clients and been a part of that transformation?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just got my taxes done. So looking back on this, um, I mean, looking at the time frame, this is not talking like yearly, but just the whole time frame in general. I would probably say at least 200K, if not a little more. Um, I mean, even like 250, I would probably say.
Okay.
Um, now,
That's a
if I,
little bit.
a little bit, $250,000, yeah. Um,
And that's just to frame that though, that's been in about what time frame so far?
that would be from when I joined, May 2020. I think
Mhm.
we talked April, maybe May or June of 2020, up till today's date. Um, versus if I didn't join, Dream Clients, it gosh, the first year, I mean 2019, I think it was $30,000.
So you went from $30,000 in a year
Yeah.
to what do you think you'll make this year?
Oh, easy, maybe 150.
Okay. So 5 times as much,
Yeah. That's
which
and that's crazy, right? That's crazy to think about. Just going, what, like, if I would have had the confidence, Jeff, I would have had the confidence like 5 years ago. And of course, I don't know if you had this program 5 years ago or not, but like if I would have had that 5 years ago, it'd have been a whole different world right now, And
yes.
so that's where, like, hey, this is possible. This is doable. Now, of course, you have to have the work to back it up, right? I mean, you can't you can't just slap on a preset, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. There's got to be more work in this,
Yeah.
but um it's just it's meant the difference in the world. Things have changed way for the better.
Yeah. Well, so your investment into dream clients, which was probably scary, I would
Oh,
imagine, because
oh,
for most it is.
oh yeah. I mean, having that amount, and you see the amount, the one, I mean, at the time, I can't remember what you're doing now, but
Mm.
um at the time it was the one-time payment, and I'm like, what in the heck am I, what's going,
What did
it,
Becca say?
She looked at me going, "Are you nuts?" Like she was like, "What did I just marry? You know, what's
And this is as you're talking about the price of joining Dream Clients.
yeah. Yeah, she was like, there's no way. Are you out of your ever loving mind?"
Well, see, I
And
knew I had to help you guys actually, because if I didn't, she seems like the person, she's really sweet. And so I always imagine she's the person that would like track me down and murder me in my sleep. So, you know, that I have to say that that's partially why I helped you guys out so much, because I knew she's just so sweet. I just knew that there had to be
she's
some catch. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, she's the sweetest person, way more than I will ever be. But she yeah, she looked at me going, "Are you nuts? Are you absolutely nuts?" And that's where, I mean, we left the call thinking there's no way. I think we told you that, you know, we're gonna pass on this. And you know, it wasn't until like doing some talking and thinking about it, you know, and to be honest with you, I mean, praying about it, you know, trying to
Mhm.
figure out what is the right direction, what do we do, and how do we build this business to where that this is sustainable, that we can do this full time for both of
Yeah.
us. Remembering the context of I left my job, you know, to do this, and then she was furloughed, you know, from her position, and of course laid off later down the road. And so um you know, we gave it a go. We're like, hey, now's the time to do this. Um, and I think the big word, you know, during COVID was pivot, right? It's like, so it's like,
Mm.
how do we pivot our business to where this is sustainable? And we had, at that time, we invested, you know, to change the website. And of course, we did a lot on our own within that, beginning the education to do that. So we have now the knowledge, you know, not someone else who did it for us. We did it ourselves. We hired on a copywriter, you know, to get the framework. And then we learned how to do the copyright ourselves. And then with you, with the Dreamlit Clients program, hey, we don't want to just hire someone, you know, like an agency. We want to know how this works.
Mhm.
It may not be the funnest thing in the world, you know, at first, but learning, hey, how do we do this ourselves? And that's when we said, hey, you know what, we're gonna start letting go of this fear and start investing in into ourselves and our business. And that's when we pulled the trigger on it.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So Becca was scared. You
Yeah.
were maybe even a kind of like,
I'm like, am I gonna lose
you
my
would,
marriage right now?
but you've been able to track, you would say about $250,000 to the choice to actually take the leap
Right.
and join. Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Or so, I mean, the reason I kind of highlight that to you is because one of the painful things about what I do is that, you know, I'll jump on a call with someone that I truly believe that I can help. And similar to where your situation is, for example. And then they decide to not take the leap.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it actually is a little bit painful for me, not because I didn't, you know, get this person to work with me or I didn't get to work with them. And it's sort of like I feel inside what could only be described as by sort of asking you, what do you think when you think back to the decision to join Dream Clients? Could you imagine knowing what you know now, and then let's say in an alternate reality, you had chosen not to join?
Oh,
What would
yeah.
that feeling be?
I
Looking at that alternate reality, you know, like
I mean, if I didn't join, and I think I got your question correct, but if I didn't join, and looking at it now from alternate reality, um, I'll be honest with you, I think we probably would have folded up and probably would have done something else and went back to a 9 to 5. And to be really frank and honest with you, probably would have went back to my employer, you know, the church, and beg for my job back. That honestly. And um, I just when I left my position, you know, we knew it was time to move on and do something else. But again, with the cards being played and everything being stacked with COVID, you know, layoffs, everything, we would have really been in a world of hurt, you know, if we had chosen not to go through with it. And I don't know. Like I hope that makes sense. You know,
It
that's
does
like
make sense.
I just I think when people and hopefully I'm articulating this right, but I think when people when they see or they hear the program, you know, and you meet with them and then they see the price. I kind of get this a lot. You know, we do. I mean, with like wedding clients, right? They see the price, you know, and they freak out. Um, but it really, when it comes down to it, it's an investment in their business. It's an
Hmm.
investment in their lives. And um, I know I can probably tell them no, you know, it's probably the saddest thing to see, you know, that how you know that you can help their business and not just transform their business, but transform their mindset. And then, you know, by them choosing no, going a different way, it saddens you almost. And it's again,
Hmm.
it's not, I can tell with you, Jeff, you know, because you care for people. You want people to succeed. It's not about um, you know, money or power or whatever. It's like you want to help people. And so for us, like looking back on that, um, it would have been really hard if we chose not to do this.
So what would you say to that person that is, because somebody's going to watch this, that's
Yeah.
going to be, you know, maybe they're not exactly where you were back when we spoke. Maybe they are. Maybe it's a little bit different, but regardless, there's going to be people that watch what we've just talked about. And so there's going to be people that are in that place that are like, ah, man, it's kind of a lot of money. You know, I don't know if I want to do that, and it's scary. How would you talk, or what would you say to that person in that moment with what they're experiencing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I would just tell, I mean, just from our experience, I mean, it was deep down looking at it and to be honest and real with ourselves, it was a lot of fear. It was a lot of fear based driven of, hey, I'm gonna fail at this. I'm spending this X amount of money on this program, and I feel like I'm just gonna waste my money away. And this is someone who I don't know who's trying to sell me something, you know, and it just feels off and different. And I would just tell them, don't you want to make more money in your business? Don't you want your business to be a full-time business? Don't you want it to be sustainable? You know, to overcome that fear and to really go, hey, enough's enough. You know, let's really get serious with this and to dive deep in. And, you know, there's a lot of other people out there, you know, like SEO experts, you know, and programs and things. And trust me, I've purchased some of my own. I mean, I've never told you this, Jeff, but there's some things that I've, you know, purchased into that. But it was never like it was just SEO and that's it. It was like, here, you do this to start ranking, and you blog, you know, 100 times a month, you know, and you do this and this and this, and there you go, you are ranking. And I'm like, okay, but then what else? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just didn't make sense, I guess. And so it was like, so like fast forward, like going through the program, like to speak to someone who's on the fence about this is so much more than just an SEO program. Like I said, SEO, it's a puzzle piece, right? It's a part of this, and it's a good chunk of it.
Hmm.
But to go through and to know, okay, I'm ranking on Google, now what? And for you to go through to go through the program and to figure out the now what, you know, and to have the steps in place for that, and to practice and to learn, and to go through the masterminds and you know and have honest conversations with honest questions. um, it is, I cannot put a price tag on it. I can't. um, it's meant the world to us, and so I really hope people just overcome that and just go, hey, you know what, let's do this. And I get it. I get it. You know, price is an issue. You know, things come up. We're human. We're in 2022. I get it. Um, but just to make the investment in your business through this.
Yeah. And you guys weren't in. the best financial place
No, dude,
whenever you decided to jump it, because sometimes, and that's a mindset thing, sometimes people go, well, when I make some more money,
right.
right?
And that was our excuse. That was our, I mean, down to the T, going, hey, we have debt, we have this, we're trying to save for a house. Um, there's no way. When we make more money, we get more clients, be able to consider this. And my argument is, well, how are you going to get more clients when you're not ranking on Google? Do you think getting more clients means, and I mean, everyone's different, right? So is getting more clients for you, ranking on or paying for those listings for Wedding Wire the Knot, and getting those, inquiries coming in, because in my experience, we never booked anything off there. Don't get me wrong, we got multiple inquiries per day, but we just wasted our money.
Yeah.
Nothing stuck or nothing booked.
Yeah.
And so I would say that is more of a waste of money than doing the Dream Clients program, or spending money on advertising or ads or doing whatever. I would say do this first and go through the process and go through the education and the masterminds, then Wedding Wire the Knot or doing ads.
Love it. Love it. That being said, just curious, so that place where it's like, okay, well, we need to make more money, which again, I'm thinking of the people, I'm like, man, if this person could hear it from someone else's mouth, because it's like, I'm the creator of the program, right? So it's like, if I say something, it's me saying it, right? Like, am I biased?
Exactly.
Sure, I'm 100% biased, but being able to hear it from someone else's mouth that has been through it, the person that is going, all right, well, yeah, I don't have the money, or, oh, well, I need to make the money first. And it's like, well, don't you need clients to make money? It's like, yeah, I do. So, well, let's fix that, right?
Right.
What do you think? Like, what would you say to that person?
I would just say, like, I would just say those were all excuses. I mean, really, I would just say, like,
It's true.
look, I mean, yeah, I can see how, like, coming from you, Jeff, like, it could be, well, this guy's the creator, so why should I trust him? He's trying to sell me something. I'm just speaking from my own experience. Like, we, at first, I mean, we thought the same thing. I mean, we're like, look, like, Jeff's trying to sell. He's trying to, and we got it. I mean, because of course, I mean, we're wedding photographers, so we're trying to sell to clients. I get it. But when you, again, stripping everything down, going, okay, if my excuse is I need to make more money, well, how am I going to make more money? I need to get more quality clients coming in to convert and book. Okay, well then I guess if I pay for, like Google ads, or if I pay for, Wedding Wire the Knot, that gets more clients in. But then I would say, yeah, but are you really going to book those clients? Because 9 times out of 10, at least in my experience, inquiries that come in through Wedding Wire the Knot, they're looking for the biggest bang for their buck, the biggest deal ever. And if you give, I mean, our pricing was, at the time, $2,000 for an 8-hour day. And the clients did not want to book us. They wanted someone who was $1,000 because they found someone on Facebook Marketplace, who was $1,000. Every inquiry we got never was a conversion. Of course, we were able to go and have, Zoom meetings with them, but nothing stuck.
Were you posting on Instagram too?
Yeah, we were posting on Instagram. We had posting on Facebook. Don't get me wrong. I mean, those, like, social media stuff, I think it's big. I mean, it's not huge, versus, finding those ideal clients. I mean, you want to have content on there, but even then, like with Instagram and Facebook, we never got conversions over that. I mean, we have people like our stuff, follow us, but no one really reached out to us through that. It wasn't until we went through the program and we learned, okay, how do we do the steps through here? How do we of course, ranked for Google, because that's always going to be there. Google is. I hate to break it to you, it is. And then when we get the inquiry coming in, how do we talk to the client, the potential client? How do we massage that relationship, become friends with them, and really hear what they want for the wedding? Not what I'm trying to sell them, but hearing what they want with their needs, their likes, their dislikes. And so I can help create something for them, for their wedding day. Once we learned that, it was like a light switch went off and things moved and grooved like a well-oiled machine. I mean, it was a night and day difference. I tried like calling the knot and wedding wire to get off it, and of course we were in that contract thing that you can't get off, and so you're like I almost felt like a slave, like paying them X amount of money, per month. When
I bet it's not cheap where you are either.
No, it's not. But looking at like the bigger picture, it was actually more expensive for wedding wire and the knot than it was dream clients.
Yeah.
It was. People might think, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but you see the one figure, and this and that. Well, no, when you really like add everything up, it was, I think, wedding wire and the knot was like twice the amount,
and you don't have to keep. I mean, now you've got the skills. Like if you wanted to rank a whole brand new website, for instance,
yeah,
you could do that, which I think we've talked about a little bit with some of the add-on kind of stuff that you guys are doing. But I mean, the knot and wedding wire, what happens when you stop sending the check? If you can get out of the contract, right?
They stopped. And that was the other thing too, is, when I called with them going, hey, what's the deal here? Like, can I get out of this? Nothing's really sticking. Well, there was a portion, no joke, and I really think there was something fishy going on. There was a portion where we would get like no inquiries, coming in, for a couple weeks.
And then all of a sudden,
I called them up. All of a sudden, you get 6, 7, 8, within the week, and I'm going, something, yeah.
A little bit fishy.
Yeah, that's where I'm like if someone's on the fence about this program, stop, get off the fence. Like you really need to do this. I cannot tell you how important this thing is.
Well, and I really appreciate you being honest and saying that. And again, it's like my desire is for the people, if I tell someone, hey, I know we can help you, it pains me to not be able to help that person. Now, if I look at somebody and I go, I probably can't help you, and they decide, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this. Well, hey, no, you need to go over here. You need to do this. And I've had to tell people that. But if you're in the place, again, of a person that knowing what you know now, if you are in the place of a person that, let's say they're like, okay, I really want to do dream clients. I just don't know how I'm going to afford it.
Yeah.
What, if it were you, like, what would you do?
I would find any way how I can afford it, to be honest with you. I would, if I was on the fence like that, I mean, like looking back on that again, in my head, I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? How can I afford it? Do I take up a second job? Do I do this or that? Do I start, doing headshots, going out of businesses, and find that side income for that? Do I start reach out to realtors, and offering, real estate photos, something to help me to get the cash there to invest, into myself for in our business. Look, if there's a will, there's a way. That's how that goes. If there's a will, there's a way. If you are on the fence, but you're realizing, hey, you know what? I need some help, within my business and to be transformed. There's going to be a way to do it. But you have to put the work in. It doesn't just appear, overnight, like some,
right,
genie you can grab a lantern with. That's my, spiel to someone. Cause Jeff, I don't know. I get, like, we have friends, who are photographers and they love their business. What they're doing is great. They're always wishing for more. They're always wishing, hey, I want to build my business up. And no joke, like in our groups, we do tell them about you and they're like, oh no, I could never do that. I could never do that. Or I think of the amounts of like what they're charging. They're charging $300, like what we were doing for like an engagement session. And they're like, oh no, I can never charge more than that. I can never do this or that. And I turn to them going, well, why not? Like, what is stopping you from that? Like, don't you want to build your business to where, I mean, yes, not only make more money, but then be remain here, in the Monterey Peninsula where you don't have to worry about things like things are just moving and happening. And that's where I'm like, I really believe like fear is the number one thing that people have. And I don't know how else to say it, but you have to get over it.
Mhm.
You got to get
Yeah.
over the fear, for you to succeed.
Right. Yes. I agree with you. And T, I've done programs myself where I have had to go, okay, you know what? This is a lot of money. I think there's one particular company, I think I've spent about 50,000 with them so far.
Crazy. Yeah.
And it was, you go, oh, that's a lot of money. Yes. But how much it has helped me is multiple and will be exponentially more worth it over time
Yeah.
because I took that leap. And for me, I go, if I know something is going to help me make minimally 10 times what it costs to do the program, like, shoot, if I got to go out and get a loan or get money from a family member, or like, if they offer in-house financing, or, I'm like, I am figuring out a way to do it because I've learned, my mindset goes, if I can, especially if it's a mastermind, it's like video courses to me are a little bit different, but if you're in a mastermind structure where you're around other people and you're picking up, like you mentioned, being inside the sessions, mastermind sessions, where it's like
Right.
you see someone else's confidence, and it's like that confidence just like slides right into your own soul. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm going to charge $15,000. And that's something that, like, if you've got that opportunity, my experience is you can choose fear and doubt and go, oh, I just don't know how this is going to happen. Oh, I'm going to avoid it. Oh, I don't believe in myself. Or you can say, maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's about saying, I'm going to choose faith over
Right.
fear and invest in myself, and then just show up.
Right.
And it's funny because a lot of, like if I was like, hey, look, I got, I'll give you a brand new like R5 setup with all the, RF lenses, and, and I don't know how much that would cost, but let's say with all the cards and everything, and brand new carrying cases and all this stuff, let's say it's going to cost $50,000. It's $50,000. If I was to say, hey, look, I'll give this to you for, a couple $1,000, or even $10,000.
Yeah.
And so then someone goes, I don't know if I can afford that.
Yeah.
It's like, shoot, most of us that have an ounce of gas, gear acquisition syndrome, would
Right.
go, like, we're digging through the sofas, right?
Right. Exactly.
For the camera gear or the new MacBook,
Right.
right? Like, and these are good things. They're not bad. But the second that we go, hey, this thing will help you make $250,000, you can get it for just a mere tiny fraction of that.
Right.
But it's not physical. You're not gonna be able to hold it in your hand.
Right.
It's like we go, ooh, I don't know about that.
That's the key, right? That's that thing. It's not a physical, like tangible item, where you can, I don't know, like headphones or something, like
Right.
it's but it's this education, this idea, and really this investment in yourself, to go through that. And that's why it baffles me. And don't be wrong, like I was there before, and so it baffles me, like, why was I like that before?
Mm-hmm.
That with that mindset versus now. And really it was just fear, and it was crippling. I don't know, like, and that's where, like, I get the arguments. I get it. If you need, to go out, of course, I don't want to tell people, hey, go in debt, and do things. But I'm like, if hey, I can make X amount of money during a wedding, So if I need to get a loan for this or do this for this, and have that wedding, I mean, it's like one wedding will pay for it.
Yeah.
You get your pricing right, one wedding will pay for this.
Yes.
Heck, you get your price right for like engagement or proposals, three of them for what, 3 hours, 4 hours
Mhm.
of your time, it'll pay for it.
So if someone would have done that to you, let's say we had our call about dream clients and you were thinking about that, and someone came up, look, and they said, hey, look, if you don't do dream clients, I'll give you $50,000 worth of a whole new camera setup. Knowing what you know now,
Yeah.
but you couldn't have done dream clients.
Yeah.
Which one would you have chosen? You can be honest, by the way. Don't let me sway you. I mean, you might be,
No,
the new camera system probably would have been pretty cool, but really, I mean, what would you, knowing what you know now, what do you think you would have done in that
knowing
situation?
what I know now, for sure, dream clients, hands down. I think if you're good, I mean, yeah, it's nice having your camera gear, but I mean, if you're a good photographer, you could shoot a wedding, in a Mark 5D Mark III, and be okay. You're
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
But knowing what I know now, yeah, dream clients hands down and above any other. And I'm not just saying this, or you can't pay me for this, like I'm just being honest. Like this is where you want to put your money in. It, not some other course, not some other, agency or thing. You want to put your money into this because this is where the investment matters. Don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, you want to have, you need to have a website, something to start with. You need to have a base. If you're a photographer, you're editing, you have to have a base where your images are at, right? But once you establish the base, and you don't need to pay someone for a website, to redo. Or don't get me wrong, we have friends who do this, so I love them dearly, but have your base down and then, go in and put your money and invest into this, because this is where the lasting like fruit that we've experienced comes from. I never would have gotten this from Wedding Wear Than Not. Never would have gotten this from Instagram, solely on Instagram ads or Facebook ads, only Google ads. It's learning how to do this, the SEO, learning how to, talk to clients and be with clients, massaging those relationships with vendors and venues, having our business go from a transactional business to a relational based business has meant the world to us. And I, if you're on the fence about it, you need to get off the fence and do this, because I just, it's happened to us and it's meant the world for us.
I love it. I love it. And it's been nothing but a joy working with you and Rebecca. And it seriously is a, one of those things where when I lay down at night, it's one of those things I can think of and go, because seeing you guys have the transformation and you guys have just been a joy to work with, and you've put in the work, at the end of the day, like, it's not like there's just a magic button that you push. And if someone's wanting that, it's like, you may want to just fall asleep and dream.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't exist, and it would be sad if that did exist, because you've went through a journey. Like, your struggles have become part of who you are, and it's part of why you produce such the good service that you do produce. So I think what I'm really excited about as you guys continue to grow is, you guys have joined the Dream Clients Legacy program, where, you're on for the entire year. And what excites me about that is I get to continue kind of seeing you guys grow and spotting opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. So, for instance, it's like you guys are starting to make more money, and you're starting to look for these different opportunities to even grow your business further. And, I'm looking at it and going, shoot, if, and this is not financial advice, this is for, what are you supposed to say? This is for entertainment purposes only,
yeah.
Right? But I'm looking at it and going, well, shoot, as they make more money, and this is part of the vision of becoming the Choose the Expert, right?
Yeah.
As you make more money, like, you guys can start creating sort of like your freedom fund.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much at this point, you haven't talked about this yet, but we will talk about it more in the future. As you look to create a freedom fund where it's like you've got extra money, and if you put that extra money into sort of like a something that can grow at say 7 to 10% per year,
Yeah.
if you guys got, especially when you start getting into the thousands of dollars per month that you can put back, that's where you start thinking about retirement.
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly. I mean, and just to touch base with that, I mean, we don't get me wrong. I mean, like having like the cash, the money, that's coming in from clients, like that is nice, right? But
Mhm.
when you start thinking beyond the short game into the long game, and thinking, hey, we don't have 401ks, like we have them, from our previous employers, but we don't get an employee match, or employer match, if they're 401k. We don't get, options or whatever. Like this is on us. And so it's interesting you say that and bring that up, because now like we are now, going into like mutual funds and putting money away, for like in crypto and other things within that, to really plan long term, for, I mean, not just our business, but really for our personal lives within
right
that.
And that's encouraging to hear, because how many photographers are not thinking at all about retirement?
Right.
Because they can't, because they're not charging enough.
Yeah.
They don't got a long play. Like, and I talked to some photographers 50 years old. They've been doing it for 15 years, and it's like, so what are you doing for retirement? It's like they're already fit. Yeah. Now that doesn't mean they're hopeless, right? But it's like, as I look out, and I've got this group of photographers and everything, I'm looking out and going, how do I help as much as I possibly can? And with you guys, even, it's like, shoot, I want 20 years from now you to be saying, hey Jeff, by the way, I just want to let you know I saved up this many millions of dollars. We're just living off of our our returns every year, and doing whatever we want to do. We're shooting, maybe you're still shooting weddings, maybe you're mentoring and coaching, maybe you're doing, different things, but it's like, the long-term play, it's like the things that we have done inside, and really what you've done. I mean, some of the things I've shared with you and then you put into action are setting you up for that long-term play, because the income's coming in. You don't have to work with a million different customers because your prices have been raised so much. And now it's like, okay, start thinking about how much money do I need maybe in the next 10 to 20 years, if I can put away this much each month, to where we could get to where we can literally just live off the returns.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You bring that up, and that's why, like, we're now in that mindset, in that place now, where that's what we're starting to do, is put stuff away. Don't get me wrong, like the housing market here locally, it is just insane.
I can only imagine, T.
It's insane. Like, there's a house, like, in town, it's like a 3-2, and 3 years ago, $500,000, and now it's 800,000, over 3 years. And I'm like, this is nuts. And so, like, we're devoting money, for that. Mm-hmm. But for us, I mean, the long term with retirement, with investments, and Jeff, to be really honest and frank with you too, I mean, now, like, going through the Dream Clients program, and learning what we know, and of course with us doing this full time now, and marketing different areas. I mean, like, we have a wedding coming up in Austin, Texas. Well, we're going to fly in, do the wedding, and then we have the flexibility now to spend a couple extra days, and you treat it as a little vacation for us.
Yes.
That, and not worry about, clients, money, everything's tight, investment, this and that. Like, we have the freedom for that now. And I think that's the key word, is freedom. When you invest right now in your business and you jump on the program for this, it gives you those freedoms to do things like that. Don't get me wrong. We love weddings. We love like, this isn't a work for us. This is fun for us. But to have that freedom to do things like that versus before, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, never would have thought that would have happened.
That's beautiful. And it, like, I know you said you went from 30K to 150K in a year, like yearly, but like, which that's $120,000 spread, I think, My math is poor, but think that's what that is. But let's say it was only 100K difference. You know, in 5 years, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's an extra $500,000, assuming you don't even keep raising your prices,
Right.
or grow it all. Just assuming that it stays essentially how it is now. 10 years, that's an extra million.
Right.
And so, you know, I'm encouraged by you guys. I want to see you guys keep growing in it. I'm super excited to see that you caught the vision, that you've got that sort of long-term play in mind. And of course, like, you know, it's not that it takes forever to rank on Google. You know, I don't know exactly how long it took you guys. How long did it take you to hit first page for your first location?
Well, it was so funny because we hit, I think it took us 20 or 30 days to get on like the second page of Google.
Mhm.
And then we got swamped busy. And so we were going through some stuff, you know, like within our business and trying to figure stuff out. But we're like, what in the heck? Like, why can't we get on the first page? What is going on? And then we sat through a mastermind, and it was like, oh, it was like this little thing, you know, that this little tweak we did. And then boom, you know, first page. And not just that, like it was like first page number 7, and then like 2 days later 5, you know, the number 4. And so now we're battling back and forth for our main keyword with another photographer friend of ours. But yeah, it's like for the longest time we were second page, but that was on us. You know, we were just so busy. You know, we didn't switch that thing over.
But then the one tweak, and it was
The one tweak, and it was like, boom, like things were
shut
going.
up. We see that. That's why I tell people, come to mastermind sessions, come to sessions, because that's where the magic happens.
Well, and that's where it was so funny, because I don't, I'm trying to be cryptic in this, I guess, but so Rebecca's like, well, should we just blog more? Like, should we just, is the reason like, is we're not blogging more? And I'm like, no, that cannot be it. And it was that one tweak, and then sure enough, it popped us up, you know, versus like, she was hearing some stuff where it was like, hey, you have to blog this and that and that and that. And I'm like, do you know how exhausting that sounds, the blog, like every day, you know, for that. Anyway, so yeah, it was just a little tweak to get in there, and of course it worked.
A lot better than blogging all the time.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, and that kind of brings up something I want to ask you about, because there's been a few people that, and it's definitely mindset stuff, where they've said, do you have anything that's not dream clients?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've always been very, like, I've never wanted to do like a cheap video course.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just don't know that I could help, because of exactly what you just said there. You know, it's like, shoot, we made it to the second page, but it was like kind of a hands-on tweak that really brought the difference. And so, you know, we've experimented with a few people where we're like, okay, we'll let you do just the video course, and it'll be at a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
And you've got 30 days to upgrade to dream clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person that said, let's say they have started on the video course and they've just got the videos, you know, and they're within, say, and we may change this. So, you know, someone, if they watch this, it may not be a 30-day grace window. We could change it to 2. I don't know. But let's say that person has the option to either do the video course or dream clients, you know, or maybe they've chosen to do the video course, but are thinking about upgrading to dream clients. What would you tell that person?
I would tell them they need to find your name and address, and they need to go to your house right now and just hand you a check, you know, for the full on thing. Cause I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I think videos can be, you know, beneficial. I think they can, but you're losing that like human element out of it, right? You're losing that that think tank, you know, environment where, hey, I have an issue, I'm not sure what to do. Hey, do you know this, or do you like, and
the coaching and the mentoring, and
yeah, like having like with not just with peers, but of course like with a coach, you know, and that experience within that. Again, like, yeah, you could do the video thing, but that you're gonna miss out on so much more. At least that's just my opinion.
No, I mean, I would agree with you and we just see so many people win inside of the mastermind sessions. Now, some people though, they go, well, I don't like groups, and I've been, and I get it. I'm not making fun of those people.
Yeah.
There's some legitimate, often they've done another program where the group was, maybe it was more of a Q&A style, or maybe teaching and then Q&A about the teaching, or maybe it was sort of like a mastermind setup. Either way, it was sort of like a group session. Sometimes they're big. Sometimes they're 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are smaller, 5, 6. Your experience with the mastermind sessions has been, what would you say?
I would say it's been fantastic. I would say, and I'm saying this coming from a place of, yes, even though I was like a youth pastor, deep down, I'm an introvert. Like when you get down to the heart of it, I'm an introvert. I've had to learn to be an extrovert, and especially like within our business, you have to be an extrovert, and take initiative, and
Right.
be an expert. But for someone, being in these group thinks and group tanks, in the masterminds, don't get me wrong, for me at least, it's a little bit difficult, but that's because that's my inner introvertness, speaking. But I would say for the person who, is like me, who deep down is an introvert, has a hard time with that, I would honestly just tell them, hey, like, again, with fear, like, what are you afraid of within this? Like, there's everyone in the mastermind sessions, we're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the same, like, there's none of us there who are on cruise ships, or yachts, versus like
Right.
we all started in this somewhere. And
Yeah.
I just think the idea of and hopefully I'm making sense on this, but the idea of, like, if you're in the mastermind and you see someone else's website and you start to put them on a pedestal, you start to idolize them, going, hey, what they're doing is awesome, but I just can't do that, or man, their site is so beautiful, mine is horrible, and you start to horribilize within yourself. I would just say you have to stop the negative talk and negative thinking within that, and you have to just give it a try. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, the first time I did it, inside, like, I felt awkward on the inside, but that was me. It wasn't the mastermind, and it wasn't the coaching or anything. That was me. But learning, hey, I can get over this, again, with the mindset change of the business, changing, and the more confidence I got, the more I realized, hey, this is so important, to attend these, and to really learn from them.
Well, and I think sometimes people's concern is, and what you said was great. Sometimes though, it's like, well, I'm concerned that I may not get actual coaching, or maybe I don't have any questions, or I don't know what to ask, or I may not get enough attention.
Yeah, and I think that's a legit concern, but at least for me, like, I've never experienced that. Like, that wasn't my experience. Like, every time that we've joined the mastermind, you have always, of course, when everybody takes their turn, but you've always gone through this with us and helped us, step by step through this if we had questions within that. Now, of course, I mean, a question may come up, later on, and you save it for the next mastermind, as you go through that. But it's never been this big, scary thing, or it's been this, hey, I'm not going to get enough attention, or whatever. You've really, walked us through this.
That's great to hear. And that's just another hang up though, T, that sometimes I hear people, they're like,
Yeah.
well, I would do it, but I need it to be one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, because I used to do only one-on-one, and I will tell you, people did not get as good of results because of the mastermind principle we've talked about today. Like, you've mentioned it. It's like, and what were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can try it one-on-one, but at least for me, like, look on the flip side of things, Jeff, how can you do a one-on-one with people, with how many people, are in the group? Like, that takes a lot out of you. And the other thing is, I think the X factor within that, yes, it's a one-on-one with your attention, but you're missing the other brains in the room, to help with this.
Right.
That's where I think the mastermind with a group think mentality, I think is key versus a one-on-one.
I agree. I agree. I mean, like you mentioned, you said one of the things that I think this is what you said. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like seeing some of the other people, their brains turning and hearing them talk and
Yeah,
develop the confidence. It's like that rubs off on you. And so then like you start gaining the confidence because they're like, shoot, well, if they can do it. And so sometimes I think people are like, oh, well, it's group because they don't want to, they don't want to do one on one. Whereas I used to only do one on one. And the issues that I found was that a lot of times it just people, I started doing group and then I started seeing how much people would attend more and grow more because of the group setting.
yeah,
And it's like sometimes it's not as, if you're not looking for it, sometimes you don't see it because you're like, oh, well, one on one is more attention, so it must be better. But then people that go, oh, I understand how the social mind works, go, I can see how me just seeing this other person either struggle, have questions or whatever, and then work through that. It actually is like feeding some like some subconscious part of my brain so that I can even improve just by being in that proximity.
yeah,
That to me was why it's like I like group stuff as long as there's a few things. One is there's actual mentorship going on
exactly.
where the person that knows stuff is looking at what I got going on and then helping me even identify where my errors are. Which is what we do, right? It's like I
Yeah,
don't expect you to know even the questions that you need to ask. It's great if you have them, but you probably saw, I can't remember if you did this, but you probably saw people go, I don't really have any question. And then I go, well, cool. Let's look at what you got going on. Let's problem
yeah,
solve from there.
yeah. No, no,
Like let's coach from there.
no, it's exactly. I mean, you've done that with us before, and it's exactly, and that's where like I think with the like whenever we're in a mastermind, right? I mean, of course we are attentive and we're listening in, and when it's our turn for questions, we'll ask, or do whatever. But I just think like a mastermind, like I treat it like a podcast, right? And so it's like it's on, I'm listening to it. I may be editing during that time, before, it's like it's our turn with our list of questions for you. But as I'm hearing this and I'm listening to this, um, if there's something going, oh, they're having an issue. Oh, I'm having that same issue with that. Oh, how is that going to be fixed? Oh, I can do this and this. Or if someone else has something going on and it's something that I have figured out, or fixed ourselves, having that opportunity for me to chime in, go, oh, yeah, this is how this works. And of course, I mean, with you overseeing it, but that's where I think the group aspect is key into this versus,
Mm-hmm.
a one-on-one thing. And that's like we've had photographer friends who they do masterminds in the past, not with you, but with other people. And they go and they're like, yeah, I just stay for, my time. And then I jet off and I leave, because I think it's a waste of time. And I'm going, how is that a waste of time when you may not know what the other person's asking or this, or, like it is so important to learn
Mm-hmm.
from this
That's
collectively.
part of the value. It's part of the value is being around other people that are persevering or winning or struggling and still persevering or
Yeah,
whatever might be going on. It's like being in that context of other people that are headed towards a goal that you have in common.
right,
That itself fuels our own sort of drive and
right.
our own knowledge and our own ability to continue pushing towards again that sort of common goal. So I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of feedback from you on that because again, I talked to so many people and the people that again I believe could have massive growth, but yet I hear some reason why, well, because of this or because of that, or I did this
Yeah,
program and they did groups and well, I don't know if I want to do group because I want one-on-one and I respect that. But I think sometimes if they, like you, were to take the leap and get to the other side, they look back and talk to themselves
yeah,
if they could, and be like, yeah, that now I understand, now I see. So I hate that does hold some people back, but hearing you talk about it,
yeah.
hopefully.
No, exactly. It's kind of like previous, like, um not expectations, but like they put expectations on, within the group. And so they, from previous experiences. And so they've had a, bad experience or a negative thing or this or that. And so they're searching and they're thinking, hey, this is what I want out of this, or this is what I want to do, or hey, I really want a one-on-one thing, because the experience I had in this other program, that I've done, it just didn't pan out. And that's why, like, at least for me, like, I want to tell people, hey, you need to go in here with no expectations. You need to not, like, start with a clean slate, put away the fear, start with a clean slate, come in here not expecting what you think you're expecting, and just going, hey, we're all from ground zero. We're all starting this, at the same time when they do like an onboarding call with you, and have them go through this. And again, like, there, I don't know, Jeff, there's so much more. It's so much more into the masterminds and doing a group thing than it is a solo, one-on-one with a coach.
Yeah. Well put. Well put, T. Couldn't have said it better myself. Anything else you want to add, man? I mean, we can kind of, I think we've been on here for a while now. Maybe, I don't remember what time we actually jumped on, but we've been chatting for a while, so I don't want to belabor us too long. I mean, I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
But anything else that you'd like to add to what we've talked about so far?
No, I would just say, I mean, just for people, again, like, if you're on the fence on this, Rebecca and I mean, we just from the depths of our heart, I mean, we couldn't be where we're at without the program. That's just how this is. And it's, people may say, well, Jeff's just coaching you through this, or, you're just telling, because you're in the program and yada, yada, yada. But coming, and I'm just being real and honest, I mean, coming from a guy who quit his job because he knew it was time, thought, I'm going to do this full time. The pandemic hit. Rebecca and I, my wife and I, going, what in the heck are we going to do? And then taking the leap of faith and trusting in the process and going, hey, what's holding us back is fear. And to overcome that, to go through the onboarding with you, to go through the masterminds and the Dream Clients program, and to come out and going, holy cow, like, I'm charging $8,998 for an 8-hour day, which I'm sure, that's going to rise up here, within 6 months, we're going to ask even more. Like, those figures for us, it just wasn't in the cards for us. Like, we never would have thought that. And we couldn't have done this, without, the program. And so, like, just for people who are on the fence, they're thinking, hey, wedding whether or not, those are the ways to go. Or they're thinking, hey, paid Facebook ads and Instagram or paid Google ads, that's the way to solely go. It may help, but if you really want, like, true lasting results, and you want the quality of clients coming in, and the clients that, again, not being transactional, but relational, where they, not us, but they want to be your friends afterwards, then you need to go through the program. You need to go through this, because if it can happen for us, it can happen for anyone. And we, again, and I told you this, Jeff, like, it's almost like we're not deserving, of these clients, but they seek us out and they want us because of the transformation that we've went through.
Amazing and well put. To sum up, I mean, I think you said you've made an extra 250,000.
Made extra 250,000 over the past couple of years. I mean, we are now, again, like, being in the market we're in, for the housing market, we never thought we would have owned a house here. Now it's, hey, this might be a possibility. We can do this. Doing weddings, in Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach, Jeff, we're like $100 million homes in Pebble Beach. And that's what we're doing.
And ranking for how many different locations so far?
Oh, at least 15. I mean, locally, I mean, we're starting to go Northern California. I mean, like
15 different locations?
Yes.
You're ranking for 15 different locations?
Yes.
First page for 15?
Not first page yet, but I think there's 7 that are first page.
7 first page. 15, the other 7, 8
The
are
other
still
eight,
coming
they're
along,
they're creeping up.
moving
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Um,
To total 250,000 since
yeah.
we started working together. You went from like, what was it, $1,600 clients
Oh,
all the way up now.
$1,500 8-hour day, like thinking about that, I'm like, what in the heck are we doing? Like that is just nuts.
To
So
15,000. You're about to book one. You've already
yeah,
booked 12K, but now you got the 15,000 that's about to sign the
yeah,
contract. And uh, going from the 30 to 150,000 a year, working, the quality of your clients has improved. If you had to say a percentage, how much has the quality of your clients and the relationships you have with them improved since beginning Dream Clients?
I mean, 1,000. I mean, we you can't give a number on it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a night. It's like a dark room and flipping on a light switch. It's a night and day difference.
love it. Love it. And now you can even think about things like saving up
Yeah.
for, retirement. And I try not to think of retirement as like, when I'm old and,
No,
just
but
not doing anything, but like having money in a place where it grows and you can literally live off of it
yeah,
and just do the work that you truly, only the work that you really, really want to. You work when you want, you go where you want, that kind of stuff. That's where you're headed now
yeah.
because you've gotten a hold of that vision. And so, man, I know you guys are going to hit it. You're going to knock it out of the park even more than you already have. And I'm just super excited we're working together,
Yeah,
and we're continuing to do stuff. This is not the end, right?
yeah,
We're
exactly.
continuing to grow. This is just kind of stopping and going, let's look like, where have we come so far, right? Like
Right.
what milestones have we hit? Couldn't be more proud of you guys.
Oh, well, thank you, Jeff. I mean, like I said, I mean, having the confidence, it's really you giving us the confidence, within that. And it's, um, thank you for your patience with us.
Oh my god, no. And we're both Christians. At least I
Yeah.
believe we are, right? I guess there's different types of people that are youth pastors, but usually Christian.
No, Christian. Yeah.
And so, like, again, like seeing your faith in action,
Yeah.
caring for your family. At the end of the day, we have to give glory to Christ.
Hmm.
We know that what has been possible. I know for me, even being a wedding photographer, or even having a family, even thinking, oh, I need to do something to, make money for my family. And then I was like, well, we could be wedding photographers. Like every step along the way, up to us even talking now, it's like I've seen where God has guided me. And it's been because I have that friendship with God through Jesus,
Yeah.
right? The fact that Christ's blood was shed,
Yeah.
I can be a friend with God. Like that at the end of the day is literally the only reason that I'm here
Right.
and able to help people. And so like I say that because like I really am in a position of gratefulness. That's
No. Yeah.
and I just have to give glory to Christ for that. So I appreciate you more than you know. We're going to keep the ball rolling on stuff. Look forward to seeing you more here.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate your time, T. Thank you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I miss Rebecca. So
I know
I said hello.
she's got my parents' dogs right now, and so she's dog sitting while I'm here.
Dog sitting. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. All right, T. Thank you, my friend. You have a great rest of the night. I'll see you soon.
Too. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.